We're back in slave time.
Oh man,
You got your papers?
You
got your papers?
Don't say that,
boy. That's what they doing, bro. So it's like, to me, it's like the reason why I'm having a conversation with him, because we both were raised on food stamps or WIC in some different ways. And also in our adult life, we had to use it to be able to survive because we didn't have no money, you know what I'm saying, to be able to do it. When I was in college, my mom and my daddy was in jail. So I had to rely on food stamps. You're paying your political games at the expense of people's livelihood.
Yeah.
When you send people into hunger or starvation, definitely those measures and those times become drastic. Every ally that we have that's able to push America's imperialist, you know what I'm saying, agenda, or push their imperialist desires, they didn't give them a percentage of what they owe them during the government shutdown. Right. But the American citizens get a percentage of what we owe during the government shutdown. And the government shutdown is what's justified to give people 65%. They didn't give Israel 65% of their weapons, 65% of the $1 billion. They gave them what they want.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. So to me, it's just showing, like, she ain't too. Donald Trump ain't only renovating 65% of that ballroom. He only paid for 65% of that.
Who divvy out SNAP? Or how do you get that? Through the state or through or you get it through the government?
The federal government is what is giving parts of the funds, and then the state government is who disseminates it. That's the reason why you have a different type of food stamp card in Oklahoma versus being in Texas. The SNAP program was originally created during World War I or World War II. To me, you see a bunch of people talking shit about where their tax dollars is going. Mm-hmm. But they ain't thinking about the various ways they tax dollars going to fuck us over.
Yeah. You
mad about somebody getting eyelashes, crab legs, and Jordans, but you ain't mad about the 5, 6, 7, 8 yachts they didn't buy in private jets. Jeff Bezos didn't spend no money in Texas.
So what is that? You told me that before. You helped me with macro and micro with that. Like, look at how or just the differences of what you're being an uproar for. For the island.
Based off what would you call it first? Like, what would you call it? Or how would you describe it?
And people a little shallow or finance is scare folks. Big finance scares the normal person. And they don't know the scale of how conniving, how scamming these folks is. So
yeah.
Man, we're gonna give y'all 65.
I call it class warfare, but class warfare in a way that get working and poor class people to wage war against each other in the name of class at the expense of each other for the greater good of rich people. Because right now we have people that prioritize management of funds and prioritize having your priorities where they're supposed to be at.
Okay.
If a multi-billion-dollar corporation has an entire finance department where they have individuals who have business degrees, they can mismanage their funds, and the government will use taxpayers' dollars to bail out this multi-million-dollar, billion-dollar corporation.
Yeah, no.
Nobody's chastising the bank or this company, this automobile company, or this, you know what I'm saying, tech company when we spend tax dollars to bond them out, to bail them out.
Yeah,
we're seen as being good.
It's good.
I mean, you ain't telling them, man, you stop buying avocado toast.
Okay, so they get 65. Do they get it immediately, or I got hope?
I got to look at
other folks, when they need their billions, they probably get it immediately.
Hopefully it's emergency. Let's see, I got a computer right here, so I gotta look it up. Let's see. Patrick Penn, who oversees food and nutrition services at the USDA, including SNAP, said the court declaration that maximum allotments of food stamp beneficiaries will be reduced by 35% for the month instead of half.
We was gonna do a half. See, we increased, so that makes us even more better in good faith. When I'm getting down on you, I guess I tell you in good faith.
You know something about to get down.
Well, I'm gonna win in the end. I'm trying to, man.
The Justice Department said to separate. I'm trying to figure out when they gonna get the shit.
When they gonna get it? See, that ain't important. What's important is from playing. Like, that, when y'all gonna get it ain't big.
For me, I thought about this, fam.
I'm giving more than what I said, so I'm doing a good thing for you. You need to appreciate.
We've been giving away turkeys to people in the hood every year for shit. People I've always done that.
Right.
A lot of those people that's getting those turkeys, they already on food stamps. But the food stamps was already not that long stretching, where people still had to get free turkeys because they're used to using those food stamps for their regular monthly intake of food that doesn't involve a big, eating festival, Thanksgiving holiday, you know? So if you already below on food and you already respecting your food and we already, it's 6 type shit, it's like, how does this impact the overall holiday experience, especially if y'all want us to come out here and spend some money?
Yeah, negatively.
And that's what I'm thinking. You feel me? Like not like negatively speaking, and too thinking it is. It's a lot of people that have selective moral outrage when it comes to mismanagement of funds, and I think that's the better way to put it as well. It's like when you see poor people mismanaging funds, you become a financial advisor who wants to chastise. You know what I'm saying? But when you see corporations doing it, you feel like it's just the price of doing business, and you turn a blind eye, and you ain't got no issue with that.
It's easier to do that on the people. Let's give some grace. It's easier for people to do that because it's easier to see. It's more accessible to learn about their crimes or how they getting down, or you know what I'm saying. To really, you got to learn about them, or you have to see them. They have to be posted, or breaking news. They have to make the news. For you to be able to see somebody not see somebody mismanaging their money is right in your face. That's every day. Any people
to me, man, I think that if you got
people swept down and mismanaging it. From whatever, and especially people poor with less money you have, the more acute the more you know how to use it.
And I think this too is
grace. They don't know what to do.
No. Well, and too is just I don't think a person in poverty or on food stamps or qualified for food stamps has to wear it on their sleeve. I don't think a person that's in poverty has to also dress like they're quote unquote in poverty. I think that's what happens. A lot of people make it where it's this. You see a kid, they got on Jordans, and you think because this kid has on Jordans, they should be able to afford food. So what you're saying is that this kid, because their parents, don't have money, should go to school and always already be subject to bullying in addition to having to qualify for food stamps. Because it's amazing, like, when you getting there now?
In a way, because if you ain't got to have Jordans, you went to the premium. You picked a luxury item for this kid. When I just went into bed, I don't know how we can say, place, man, they got shoes in there that I wouldn't buy my son. They ain't got no mark on them. They ain't got no bread on them. It's true. It's like,
and this, agreed. You do not have to get the name brand, this, that, and the other. But what we also saying is that this.
You went above average. You went luxury.
But you cannot negate that in most school places, especially talking about with poor people, because we gonna always be classes to each other, coming in with the children's play shoes while everybody else does not have those shoes.
Right.
It's like,
but you didn't have to go Jordan. You could have went Nike somewhere.
That's fine.
Jordan. You made an extra.
To me, I'm just saying Jordan. But most individuals that chastise people for having name brand, the distinction between Jordan and Nike is going to be semantics. Because they see it as you had the ability to buy a piece of material that looked good, so you should have been able to feed yourself. That's the bottom line of the argument.
Okay,
can't get no N1s. What you getting? And it's like, wait, what?
You should. If you buying Jordans, if you willing to spend that much money on something they finna grow out of, we talking about kids buying. You see the kid with the Jordan. But y'all need help buying food, the more essential thing for your life. Like, other than this premium item, you could win got some Nikes, you could got some Reebok, you could win.
I think
food, New Balance,
I hear you. I think that even if you, I feel like even
little kids in grade school, they in elementary school.
But to me, even this though, I think that the way the conversation is illustrated, it still links into what I'm saying about having more energy for how poor people spending their money and watching how they spend their money and thinking about the way the billionaires do. We don't spend enough time. We spend so little time thinking about the various ways that billionaires use government assistance and abuse our tax dollars, and we don't even have the vocabulary to go in depth with it. But we can think about the few people of the 41 million people that's on food stamps that abuse it. Because I think that's what happens, is that the conversation becomes very reduced down to thinking about the worst instances of food stamp abuse or government assistance abuse, and now all people that experience it. And I think that's what I mean by class warfare. I think that's what I mean by energy. Because we're not thinking about, when it comes to billionaires being able to use this, we ain't thinking about the best money launderer. We ain't thinking about the best, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, that's, to me, that is important.
Because it's about something, you gotta give grace. You gotta.
To me, like, it should be inverted.
With less that I have, or less a person is perceived to have in income,
the more scale criticism they get.
But because it's easier, it's a bigger piece of the pie that you spend when you spend, because your pie is so small.
I agree.
Versus a person misappropriating billions is less accessible to the normal person. Give grace.
But that's the issue though. That's the issue though. The issue becomes a direct trade-off. When we spend our time as poor people talking about how a few people create fraud and scam when it comes to food stamps, it trades off of the conversations that we could be teaching ourselves and making what we can be focusing on the way in which billionaires get away with loaves of bread and whole bread trucks while we're fighting people about what they do with breadcrumbs. I think that's what I get from. It's just like right now, we can have an airline industry that's a multinational industry that generates billions of dollars. They mismanage funds. We would give them billions of dollars. We would give them more money in the big picture than what we do and disseminate and distribute it amongst millions of people. Like we'll give American people 10 million and we'll give them 5 billion. People will be more mad about the 10 million. It's like you pay taxes regardless. I would much rather my taxes go towards a poor person getting some Jordans, the Jordan 5s and some crab legs than the billionaire getting a private jet and my money being sent to Israel to blow up Palestinian kids. I think that because I'm coming in it I'm looking at this like a comparative and like creating a impact calculus. Yeah. Which one weighs the most? And whichever one weighs the most, that's the one we should deal with first. That's the one that we should have the most energy with. And to me, it's like if we all care about mismanagement of funds, and we all care about abusing the government, which one has the biggest? But to me, I think I'm indicting that. I agree with you, but I'm indicting that as saying like this is the problem. Yeah. I agree. This problem.
You got to give grace on them folks putting focus on that problem when it seems abstract.
I agree.
You say billions. I don't know what billions look. I don't even know.
I agree.
You
got to invert it though. So better question is, in what ways do you think I could better give grace to more working class poor people when it comes to class consciousness? Because technically what we're talking about right now is the concept of class consciousness and thinking about the various ways that capitalism,
class consciousness.
Yeah, class consciousness. Like what is your like classism? What's your first class, second class, third? Like poverty.
How you say class consciousness is
class consciousness.
Class consciousness is being mindful of conscious of different classes that's out here and seeing you look at poor just like everybody else, poor, rich, and medium. You going against them poor. When you think you in the medium or something, you think you.
To me, about this, like if I say a race consciousness, it's about like your ability to be racially aware, politically, socially, economically of race.
Yes.
So class consciousness is kind of, you know what I'm saying, similar. I was gonna read the actual definition of it. I thought like, I need to read the definition. I need to read that definition. But I guess I can provide this for research and purposes. This comes from the Marxist Archive the Marxist Internet Archive. In the Journal of Society and Political Psychology. Class consciousness is the awareness of one's social and economic class and its relation to others in society. It involves recognizing shared interests with others in the same class, understanding how one's own interests conflict with the other classes, and identifying those ones and identifying with one's class group. This concept is central to Marxist theory, which suggests that the true class consciousness among the working class, moving beyond false consciousness, is necessary for them to challenge the ruling class. So it's really just about how us having a consciousness of class and how economics and how our labor being exploited by the ruling class, we can understand how they position us. And it's not class reductionism saying that gender don't matter or sexism don't matter or racism don't matter. It's thinking about how those also impact the way we're classed, i.e. Black women and black men are classed a little different. We have access to employment different. Our labor is valued different. You know what I'm saying? Like that's that's what I think about, like class consciousness. And I think that's what we're getting at right now and trying to realize, let people realize you're closer to being on SNAP benefits than you is being a billionaire. A lot of hundredaires and thousandaires do a lot of the hard work and ugly work for billionaires in hopes that you will also become a billionaire one day. Right. So you want to keep open the loopholes to allow for you to be exploited and allow for them to be, you know what I'm saying, billionaires. You want to keep those loopholes open because you feel like one day you'll be able to benefit from them. Yeah. And that's, to me, I think that's just how I see a lot of times the economic conversations go. It's like, whatever rich people do is good because that's what makes them rich.
For some.
But it's like, is it hope? Or is there some type of like nihilism in it? Or not even that one knowledge, it's like self-depreciation because like those loopholes make it easier to exploit you. That's the reason why we don't have a minimum wage that's increased for over 15 years. Yeah. Because the billionaires pay lobbyists and interest groups to make sure they're able to exploit you and keep you benefiting on food stamps to make sure they're able to keep their billions. Because this kind of place is important talking about Amazon and Walmart employees, those two big conglomerates, they contribute the most workers in many instances to people being on SNAP.
Okay.
While also receiving a lot of benefits from the government and kickbacks from the government and subsidies from the government for doing their business. Yeah. So Walmart, one of the main workers that benefit the most from these benefits, pay lobbyists to make sure they can't pay their workers. And then they use government subsidies to better try to pay. It's money laundering. At this point now, you circling the money, wasting money. The government giving you money for you to fuck over the people, for you to put more profits in your, you know what I'm saying, to your donors and to your, like.
That's so grace. That's so high of concept, or not high, but just, out the ways for a normal person who, we in survival mode. I'm waking up in the day, I ain't worried about how the billions is being misappropriated and how, they using, the bomb, like you said, the people over there, but
yeah.
It's the normal person that's too far. They survival mode. Give grace. Folks in survival mode. You saying, y'all got this and it's for a few. If they really passionate about how folks with joy, like it's other ways you can mismanage. Folks with the wrong shoes on because they supposed to be on Snap or whatever. They ain't gonna be on no shit.
But I feel like we gotta get them to unlearn that though. But that's what getting away though.
Masses ain't finna.
So now it's to me, it's like thinking about how can I get the people that will listen to get them to think a little bit differently.
You give it to them, give them grace. You smooth and understand.
But we can't concede the indoctrination of being able to be like, because you're in survival mode, you want to punch the person that's closest to you and not punch the person that's punching down on you the most. Because basically what happens. Survival mode makes it work because you're more accessible to me. I want to punch on you. Because I had a conversation with somebody, you feel me, on a live stream, you feel me, young leftist, 19 years old, you feel me, and it became obvious to me in the conversation, like, I get it. You're a leftist like me, meaning that you are anti-capitalist, you're anti-imperialist, you don't think the system is going to be able to get what it needs to this, that. You're
anti-government.
Anti-government, basically.
Okay. So sit down when you went to you. Does it matter?
That is where the differences in being a leftist start coming in and coming out. Because in my mind, it's like, even as a leftist, if I don't pay taxes, government take me to jail because the government feel like I have a responsibility to them. I think the government responsibility in turn is to make sure my tax dollars is going to pay for people that need it and going to make sure all Americans is getting the responsibility and the kind of responsibility that you expect. Yeah. Government says that my responsibility is paying taxes. Government responsibility is to do what? Ensure life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, or, was it peace and tranquility? It's like if you break the law while the government is closed, do you still get punished for breaking the law? Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we're going to we ain't going there.
To me, on some real shit, it's like it becomes a time when talking about politics and theory. Stop, Katie. Well, you got to think of like shit. So where does the rubber meet the road at? Like me being an anti-capitalist, being an anti-imperialist, what does this mean for my family that's always relied on SNAP benefits? I don't have money to build a garden to be able to get them all, to be able to feed them all. But I do know that this same government that's locked up my mom and locked up my daddy, they indebted, I believe, to be able to also follow through what they say government do. This is what democracy is supposed to do. Do they do it typically? No. That's the reason why I'm on the ass.
They don't have to. They running the show. When you run the show, the rules is yours. You make the rules. I did this for a long time. I'm stretching it out. I'm talking about derivatives on derivatives. I'm stretching it out. I'm gonna spoon feed you right now. I'm gonna give you 65. I was gonna give you 50. I'm gonna give you 65 now. And I'm gonna stretch it out over time. But these folks on a more global scale, bigger scale, like, nah, I'm gone. I gotta get you out the way. This bigger bill, like, well, this a have to.
I think originally, usually I would agree, but like,
folks are late.
Now you brought us in. But now the precedence has changed. Standards have changed. Most things that Trump is doing right now, we've never seen a president try. And in the past, you would say, you can't do that. That's against the rules. So now, in my mind, anything you would say is a standard or against the rules is non-unique. It doesn't matter anymore.
That's normal.
That's normal. We are not in normal times no more. We allow for military to come into American citizens and arrest American citizens. American citizens and arrest American citizens. Right now, we have American citizens being detained for being quote unquote illegal potentially, and they have their papers. That is not regular. You feel?
Yeah, that sounds crazy.
See what I'm saying? Even when you think about all of it, to me, it's like this is what's new. These are new precedents. Therefore, all the old things in the status quo, we don't have to hold ourselves to those. Nobody, something back doing them.
To do that, to say just in case I make sure, I got to make sure I'm gonna detain you right now. You got your papers. I don't know how legit.
Bro, I seen a black man in Chicago, fam. I'm talking about nigga. What's with your grandpa, fam? One of your uncles, fam.
Yeah.
Nigga hit them with the shut up. Nigga saying, here my papers. Nigga got his ID, your birth certificate. We back in slave times.
Man,
you got your papers?
Say that, Joy Lee.
You got your papers?
Don't say that.
Papers, boy. That's what they doing, bro. So it's just like, to me, it's like.
That's the administration that we have, but that's what he been on. Well, yeah, he trying to build walls and shit. So he just spread it. When you say nothing, when you say everything is new, or you say that things haven't happened before, he doing new stuff. Doing it because he can. Like, I'm talking about this new precedent every day. You say what's going on is not unique. I'm talking about this new thing that, hey, now this is what I'm able to do.
Every day.
You know, the banks.
We 34. He didn't turn back laws of the land.
Yeah.
That was been precedent for 75, 80 years.
They letting him.
Feel me? But we didn't have people that's been born, raised, and died while this thing was a thing and he changed it. That's how I think. Because to me, it's like a lot of Republicans say they don't want radical change. They don't want quick change. You overnight change laws that was law of the land for generations.
All as a collective, they said that. You know, you gonna have some that said, "Nah, I'm still with the original. I don't want to change the laws." You know what I'm saying? No radical change. But is it a select few? Is it one or two with this radical change, allowing this radical change without no fuss, no say? Like, you know what I'm saying? We don't want big changes, but now big changes coming. They going with it. You know what I'm saying? It's a few of them. Trump ain't gonna budget. Trump been people nightmares. You ever heard people talking about nightmares of Joe Biden? They you know, they might have been funny, but Trump, man.
What are two things you feel like people should take away from the conversation, or two things people should think about when it comes to like food stamps, class consciousness, 65% being at the end of the year, and Trump shut down the government? You know, it's a record right now. This the longest the government ever been shut down in American history.
New precedents every day. So he shut it down. The two things you say. Number one, grace. Give grace on, you know, realizing folks ain't gonna be too pressed with what they can't control. When the corporations and countries and people, when they do their thing, when they exert their power, us small people, us folks going to work, man, us waking up, getting our coffee, making we can't be too hard on them. Gotta be understand grace. Can't be too hard on them that they ain't, you know, gung ho about. When I wake up today, I'm gonna try to make these corporations pay. I'm going to, you know, but don't be up in arms about what folks on SNAP benefits, you know what I'm saying, do with their money. Everybody has I mean, you have a person in place to try to make sure funds ain't misappropriated. Like you ain't, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I understand that it's a regulation, but that's number one. Give grace.
I only got one thing to say. Keep that proportional energy when it comes to billionaires mismanaging funds and doing crazy shit with government assistance. When I say proportional, meaning that if somebody mush you in the face and you sucker punch them, that's disproportional. A lot of y'all have too much energy. It's disproportional when it comes to pocket watching people that's in poverty. But you don't have proportional response when it comes to billionaires watching their pockets and how what they doing and how they supposed to be able to do it, and how we're able to fight each other about crumbs while they get to change and exchange loaves of bread, entire factories with the yeast and all the flour and all the shit. You know what I'm saying? It's my best friend. Me and him actually was on food stamps together Shit, I don't know what year that was, bro. I was at the University of Oklahoma.
Yes.
We was living together.
Yes.
Definitely had us a little Sam's Club, you know what I'm saying? Little membership, going in there and crushing. Like basically saying that, I guess it's like a end it. The reason why I'm having a conversation with him because we both were raised on food stamps or WIC in some different ways. And also in our adult life, we had to use it to be able to survive because we didn't have no money, you know what I'm saying, to be able to do it. When I was in college, my mom and my daddy was in jail. So I had to rely on food stamps. So if I wasn't going to be able to get those food stamps for the semester or two that I got it, my hunger would have impacted how I was able to study, how I was able to show up to class, how I was able to listen to literally how I showed up as a human being.
Right.
So I'm thinking about the various individuals that come up the same way I did that had to rely on food stamps in order to be able to turn that paper in.
Yeah.
And me and him sitting next to him thinking about all the ways that it was cool for the weekend for us to be able to throw up that processed ass, you know what I'm saying? You know, super processed. We throwing that shit in ovens and microwaves and all that, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. So just thinking about all those people that still live those realities and how those realities are being uniquely chastised for political reasons. You making people become the expenses of your political games. Making people sacrificial lambs for your political games. You're paying your political games at the expense of people's livelihood.
Yeah.
And the last thing I say, conclusion. If you worried about crime, if you worried about people robbing and thieving, if you know like I know, a person to be waiting in the bushes, a person to come through your window if they hungry, a person to follow you home if they hungry and starving, regardless of who y'all want to talk about mismanaging funds, don't forget about them people that really live and literally depend on eating this type of food, eating food with using this means. I eat type of food, like any type of food, but eating food with food stamps, hey, drastic times call for drastic measures. And when you send people into hunger or starvation, definitely those measures and those times become drastic. So if you're worried about crime increasing, it's the issue. When we talk about civil unrest and being able to justify using the military in American cities, nothing is a great recipe for civil unrest than having people starving in the streets. So y'all protest, y'all hungry, y'all start acting out of y'all starvation, it justifies martial law, and now our local police department is clicked up with the military, it's clicked up with ICE, and now we're being terrorized in our own homes, terrorized in our own communities, just like we terrorize people when we go to foreign countries looking for their oil and shit. They say imperialism is what we do internationally to maintain our power, and fascism is just imperialism turned inward.